Hello. Who is greeting?
You are. I'm just laughing.
Okay. No, you're greeting.
Am I greeting?
And I'm introducing.
Okay.
Yeah. See, we work out a system every week. You may not have known that.
Except we've gone to this place
You
where
take
we're
this?
not going to talk about the subject until the day. So here we are. It's our Friday live chat, and we're going to talk about...
We're going to talk about touch today. So, yeah, we thought that last week, what did we talk about? Do you remember?
Oh my gosh.
It was a whole week
It's
ago.
been a very hectic... Every week,
Oh.
every day feels like Thursday.
That's true. Where we are spiritually, we talked about last week.
Yeah.
And we decided we weren't going to kind of talk ahead of time with each other about the topic. So we could just kind of riff on it and see where it goes. So today we're doing the same thing. This time it's about touch. And the final day of my Sex with God devotional is titled Sacred Touch. And it's on that topic of touch. So we thought we would talk about that today. And since my Dolce chose the topic, she gets to start. And then I get to bounce off of her, which is a little bit easier than going in cold.
So I love this day. This is day 50. Like she said, it's the last day of the Sex with God devotional. And and touching is so essential. We need to be able to touch. It does so much good for us. And it's also the first sense that we develop in the womb is the sense of touch, which is interesting. And it's a very sacred thing. I mean, you look at the Bible, beloved, included in this day several Bible passages about Jesus touching and people reaching out for Jesus and Jesus healing and the laying on of hands. And it's physically great for you. I mean, if you can look up studies on the internet easily and find how many feel-good hormones touch produces, from oxytocin to norepinephrine to helping lower blood pressure to helping with heart disease to relieving pain. So touch is essential, and there's some bad touch. And we have to make sure that the good touch is the touch that we encourage. So with that, I'm gonna let you enter into this conversation and see what you have to say about touch.
Yeah, well, I have a variety of things to say, but starting there, you've talked to me for a long time early on in our relationship about, what did you used to say, 50 times a day? What was the number that you used to say?
Well, when I
people
went
needed
to, I was in and out of hospitals for 2 years. Tried to commit suicide 12 times, had severe depression. But during that time, I was taught that a human needs 16 touches a day to remain physically and emotionally healthy. So, yeah.
That's, so who knows if that's actually true?
Right.
But clearly it's important. And so it gets complicated, though, because what if you live by yourself? Is it possible for you to be able to provide touch to yourself in a way that has that kind of healing? I wanted to talk a little bit about a concept that I presented in that passage of the devotional. So I don't know if there's other things you want to talk about first before.
Well, I think it's interesting that we talk about if you live alone, I mean, where do you get that touch from? And one of the things in veterinary science that has been proved is that touching a pet or having a pet come up and be with you increases those hormones too. So that's a good thing to know for people who live alone. We also, our sense of touch decreases with our age. And there are people out there who don't even have the sense of mechanical touch, which I thought was really interesting, where you could touch them on the arm and they won't feel it, but they can read Braille with their fingers, or they can detect what a quarter is. So the sense of touch is fascinating, and I encourage you not only to look it up online, but to enter into a sacred touch, in your lives.
So I was going to talk a little bit about how to sort of project the power.
Oh, do it.
You want me to do that now? Okay. In the gospel accounts of Jesus, there's tons of passages describing how he touches people and heals them, or and that power is flowing out. When the woman grabbed the hem of his garment, he felt the power leave him. There are times where, and it's very earthy. Sometimes he's taking spit and mixing it with dirt to make mud, and then wiping it on the eyes of a blind person, or licking his fingers and putting them in the ears of a deaf person. Some very interesting stuff there, which is not so much what we're talking about here. But the idea that there is power in touch, and obviously Jesus is not you and I. We are not Jesus. However, we are. We do understand that we are temples of the Holy Spirit and reflections of God. And so, I think that there is an ability to use that energy. And once we took this class, this Bible. It wasn't really a Bible study. It was a study at a church about healing, healing ministries. Right. And we did some experiments about with your eyes closed and getting, putting like hands together or increasingly close, and when you could tell that you were about to be touched. And sometimes you can feel that, you can sense it. There's, our bodies are made of energy. All matter is made of energy, but we are, pulsing, heat-producing energy beings. So we're these storehouses of energy, and I think that you can actually take that storehouse, take that energy that's within you and that spirit that is both yours and the presence of God there, and try to push it out through your touch. Sometimes I do that with my Dolce if she's having an ache or a pain or feeling down. I concentrate. The way I do it is that I concentrate on, if you think about your body, if you just close your eyes and kind of feel your body, you can feel where the center is. I don't know how to describe it, but you can kind of, most of your feeling of beingness is kind of there in the center. You might have a pain in your ankle or various distractions in other parts of your bodies, but you feel this. Your core is there, and I think that that's where the energy is. And so when I'm doing it, I'm kind of focusing on that feeling of beingness, that feeling of energy there, and then sensing kind of a push out in a gentle way. It's not harsh, but kind of a pushing out through my body, through my hands, and into you. Sort of requesting that God's power be healing, that God's love be pushing out into my Dolce. And I wondered if, I hadn't really thought about it, but I wondered if you can do that even for yourself because of the power of touch. If you live alone, and don't have someone providing that touch to you, then perhaps, and I haven't experimented, and I should have before we talked today, but I'm wondering if you kind of put your hands on yourself and think about that energy that it is within, and is it possible to kind of push it out your arms and back into your hands and through again. I haven't experimented with it, but I might this afternoon and see how it goes.
Do it.
Should.
It's interesting that you bring that up, because I read a study, and don't quote me, but I think it's from Berkeley, where they took people and they put a hole in like this wall, and you had to reach through, and they suggested that you touch the person in a loving way. And you touch the person. There was 3 different ways. It was love, guilt, and something else.
Guilt.
And
wow.
70% of the people receiving the touch got the right touch. They said, okay, that's a touch of love. So there's a lot in our touch, and there's so many fascinating things that you could read out there. So I would encourage you to Google it again. And touch is sacred. Touch is beautiful. One time someone said to me, put your hands really close to each other. And I always said, okay, well, this is heat. I get that, but I think there is something in the touching of yourself that is there to enter into and investigate, because we are made in the image of God. God is within us, and God's love and touch. I mean, why did He give us touch first in the womb? It's a very important sense. So I don't know. You have anything else to add to that?
I don't think so. We hope that God is touching you. Physically, emotionally, spiritually, intellectually. I hope that God's breath is just filling you and pouring over you, healing you and speaking to you. I don't think I have anything else.
Well, I'm just going to leave it with the verse that you started day 50 with, where Jesus said, "Someone did touch me, for I perceive that power has gone out of me." And I believe that power is within all of us. And I believe that Jesus felt it from a human. We could feel it back and forth from each other, and we could feel it from God.
Yeah, from within yourself. Allow
Exactly.
yourself to kind of center in and feel it. Feel God touching you. Okay. So that's it for our Friday check-in. We hope you are all well and thriving, and we will talk to you again next Friday, okay?
Have a great weekend.
Sending you love. Bye-bye.